little things. But yeah, says we're live anyway. Again, I don't really know how many people are in here or what's viewing or what's cracking, but we move anyway, man. So how you doing after the break?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. Yeah, in this quarantine lockdown situation that we're in, you know.
Yeah, and then, so what you been up to doing it within a quarantine? What have you been doing in this mad time we're living in?
For me, I just been just reassessing, like, apart from just taking time to stop being so anxious about the need to work, because that's definitely one thing that, as an entrepreneur, my hustle doesn't stop when the work stops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a challenge, but one that I definitely came to quite easy. Just to allow myself to chill, bro. Do you know what I mean? And allow myself not to feel guilty for doing nothing or staying in bed till like 12 p.m. or 1, you know, and relaxing, because everyone has to do that.
Has this allowed you to kind of like slow down and reset yourself?
Yes, in the sense of I've been able to slow down without feeling anxious that I'm not being too slow, because, you know, everyone's in this situation. So I'm able to enjoy that fact, capitalize off that, and also, like, yeah, man, I've never been able to slow down. But like I said, my mind is always thinking of what's next, what's the new paradigm shift, how am I going to fit into the new paradigm shift, you know, moving on from 2020 onwards. Do you know what I mean? How was all my different areas that I do, from education to mentoring to production to filmmaking, how am I going to do all this within this new paradigm shift? And also, obviously I was chatting to one of my boys earlier on today. It's also been a lovely time to, like, just remember what's real, as everyone's been saying. Do you know what I mean? And to also remember, you know, you can have the car, you can have the garms, you can have like the peas in your account, but those are not the things that truly sustain your happiness.
So what would you
those
say
are not the things that truly sustain your well-being. And so it's definitely been a great time to, like, just chill. But for me as an artist, and I think I speak for all artists, I'm always kind of in a quarantine. We're always in some sort of like a quarantine type of a situation. Because for me, I have to quarantine just to, like, get into certain music, so to make an album or to create something, or just to get into my creative flow. It requires me to self-isolate, you know, if you want to use these terms. So I feel very at home. Naturally, I'm at home, but I do feel very like all what's going on is not alien to me, because I take time off day jobs just to self-isolate myself to get into a creative space, and it usually takes about a week or 2 weeks before I start getting into that freedom of having my own time to create, you know, because you have to kind of deprogram, and then you get into your own rhythm, and then you're in that rhythm. So for me, man.
So how long does it take you to mentally get ready to be in that process, right? Of sitting in and just, you know, making a song? What does that take? I don't think people really understand the levy of what it takes to really make a song. What does that mean?
To make a song for me, I think the first ingredient is the inspiration. And inspiration for me is one part passion, you know, and another part like curiosity. Okay, so being passionate about being curious to create something. And a song can be made by me in as easy as like 20 minutes, the chorus and have the hook, record it, or months. Yes.
Yeah.
One day I went to Lidl. I
went to shop in Lidl.
I probably wrote that in a day. I wrote the bulk of it in about space of an hour because I was in lesson. Then I probably took it home, thought about it, refined it. But that was it. It wasn't more than like, can't even say a day, because that's a whole 24 hours. I'd say maximum my phone at like 2 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Serious?
Yeah, and then other songs take me months.
So
months.
When it came to making that song and putting that song together, what are the constructs you need to put it together? What does it take to even, you know, the full process? Okay, I want to make a song, because it's easy just to write down lyrics, and, you know, you have to make people want to like it firstly. You have to make people want to vibe with it. So what's the construct, I guess, what's the technique to putting together a track and making it iconic and wanting it to be iconic?
Boy, I mean, I can't give too much away because I just launched the online mentoring artist because it's valuable keys. But what I will say is, and for those interested, there is an online artist mentoring program that I've just launched, which is basically gonna enable young, ambitious, and motivated artists who need extra development, extra guidance, who want to ask questions, who want to, you know, let me review their songs or the artist arrangement. So we've just set that platform up just now. People can go check that out. But I think the vital ingredient, what it takes to make a song right now, one, I'll say trust in yourself, you know, because Lidl, one day I went to Lidl, was the first song I wrote as an MC. Command was an MC, grime MC. African boy, I'll lick off your head with pounded yam. You know what I'm saying? So Lidl was me saying, you know what? And I came from grime. Grime, traditionally, we don't write songs with hooks and choruses like that. We have an arsenal of lyrics that we can literally stay on one track for an hour. And we never say the same lyric. That's the true art of grime. And we don't once look at a pen and paper or iPhone to remember what lyric comes next. It's all stored in there. Do you know what I mean? So one day I went to Lidl, was my first effort to say, you know what, I want to make a song that the hook and the chorus are aligned. So the hook was, one day I went to Lidl. I went to shoplifting Lidl. So I made sure the verses had that same rhythm. One day I went to Lidl. I was really, really hungry. And it worked. It's still working like 15 years on.
Yeah, you know I mean, it's catchy. You want to make something that's catchy and memorable. I mean, for us, even when I'm a little, that song, I think my favorite bit for me is, can I see what's in your pocket, mate? So, yeah, no, I get that. And so, after making that success of that song, what was life like for you after the success of that? Because that was an immediate hit, right? So, what kind of happened? What followed as a result of that?
I was in college, my second year of college, and I was just about to go into going into university. So that song, what did the song look like popping off then? Because this is just before YouTube and all other social platforms that we know of. So what a song looked like popping off then was everyone was sending it to everybody. Through MySpace, through MSN, Infrared, LimeWire, all of these things. And as a 17-year-old African boy growing up in Southeast London, college, it was cool because I was able to, you know what? I just think, to be honest, I just saw the numbers going up on MySpace. That's what I remember seeing on MySpace. I was seeing my numbers jump by thousands, and I knew that wasn't that was different because before that, it was maybe a couple hundreds or 50 plays here. But this song is making my MySpace, it's the plays on that, because MySpace used to display the plays your song had. It was going up by the thousands. I was like, right. Then in the midst of that, I started getting a few different artists reach out to me, labels, you know, like from EMI, Virgin.
All from one song.
Yeah. I had a few labels, A&Rs come to watch my gigs. Then out of that, MIA hits me up, or her brother hits me up.
MIA, come on.
And she's about to finish this album, Kala, and she heard Lidl, connected with my vibe. And once that happened, once I opened my mind, because my mind was already open for the collaboration, because I was just a quirky youth. So I was like, I don't have to only do grime. What does it take for somebody who's starting off as grime to work with an artist like MIA, some British, Sri Lankan Donny, singing like all types of different flows?
All I wanna do is
it's all mad alternative, fam. Some Lily Allen went to eat like curry or something in the nicest way. Sri Lankan curry is banging, by the way. But fam, but that's what her voice reminded me of, because when I say kind of a Lily Allen, because she's like quirky, and Maya's voice and sound was quirky, and I thought,
you've worked with both MIA and Lily Allen.
No, I'm just making a comparison that probably one of them will kill me for, but I love them. But anyway, but my thing was that like the sound, because I only took working with MIA for the music. I knew nothing of the state in which her career was, and she was about to make one of the biggest songs of her career on the album that I was featured on, which is Paper Planes. But she was already a like big star, especially compared to like my son. So, but I didn't know all of that. All I knew, I heard the song, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me try a thing here. Let me put her on a hook. Yeah, she can do her thing, and let me spray some bars. Like maybe something can work.
Yeah.
Then when I check out the MySpace, I'm seeing like Timberland is a top 5 friends. I'm like, yeah, okay. I go on Timberland's MySpace page. That's like an official Instagram page, and she's on his top 5 friends. That's like you showcasing the top. I was like, rotted. I was like, hey, mommy. So I say yes. Drop my verse. Historic, iconic. You think it's tough now. Come to Africa. Out there, we are grinding like chocolate. Just historic vibes. And that put me in a different space, really, to experiment with art and to become the artist that I am now. Because that took me from kind of one end of the pole, which I think I was already an outsider in that scene. I was trying to find where do I fit in, even though I'm an outsider and an insider. Because naturally you're a part of it. But then rhyme was too limiting for that, you know, although I learned some key things that I've taken on for, do you know what I mean? But that I've taken on to this day. But what it takes to make a song, I think having that passion, having that curiosity, and just following your instinct. And then you can go and get reviews and ask people what they think about it. And your response to that is a whole nother discussion, you know. But because it's, for me, you want to make a song, that's like a kid playing with a toy. Then to sell something, that's a kid playing with a toy to make something to sell. It's a completely different thought process. They merge and you can have the best of both, definitely, which is what I want to dive into more in the programs that I'll be doing. But it's either one of the two, and I usually like to start from just like, I'm not selling anything, I'm just creating, you know. And if you're attuned to what you create, and what you create happens to be the flavor of the month, of the year, the key ingredient to a whole soup of culture, then at the end of the day, you're winning. And that's what often is the case for me. I make music that it's fun. Then later on, 10 years on, people start tapping in. People start talking about stealing me from the stew pots. People start bringing out Yam Carnival. People start bringing out bare different things that man's been on.
And I guess, you know, all of that, all your learning, all the teaching, and kind of force you to carry on and keep going in this time, because you came at a time where music obviously was purely just on a grand focus, right? And I guess how on top of everything and ahead of the game were you in that regard? Like, as in, how were you able to keep reinventing or keep going forward? Because I know music's the game where you're only as good as your last song. So I guess how were you able to keep that going? Kind of what was the thought process to
that? To keep going is that I've found over the years, and for me, my journey's been over 15 years now. We're in 2020, you know, 2005, I've recorded enough songs. I've already started kind of touring, so 15 years. And to keep going, when you see different people have like mad success, tiny temper, you know, and you see that kind of like different era. Then you see like the new Afrobeats era, but I'm never an Afrobeats artist. I think you have to remember your why. Like, why did you start doing what you do? Why did you start making music? And at times it could take you a while to find that why, but if you get to that why and your why is strong, then you remember. And I think with all the different themes the music has gone through here in the UK and across the world, I feel my music, looking back to maybe the earliest of my catalogue to now, has always been on point. But I'm a pioneer. I'm not an artist that is here to bust because like I made this. I've already did and continuing to do the work, but the work may not always be understood right now. Because it takes time. I've made tracks like Hit 'Em Up, for example, that I recorded in 2007. BBC Six picked that up in 2014, 2015, a clean 7, 8 years on later, and that was A-listed and still gets played till this day.
Yeah,
Literally, do you know what I mean? And that's because the scene and the soil was right to now replant the seed that I had already planted. It was already out there. So there's nothing wrong in also re-putting out your thing, because then it was fully heard for what it always had been. Man never changed no lyrics. Man never changed nothing. No beat, no nothing. It always had been smoke on top of smoke. Always had been original flavor, pepper. But people's tongue and ears was not accustomed.
At the time, so you feel like your music was a bit ahead of its time, like people weren't ready for what it is now? You feel like we live in a time where it's more, people would really understand your music more now as opposed to what it was back then?
I feel a section of the world were always on my vibe. But yeah, I was definitely ahead of my time when you speak of like the UK Afro-Caribbean scene, urban scene, however you want to call it. 100% I'm ahead of my time. I influenced people like Naira Marley. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Would listen to like a J.
Honestly, I do see similarities. Yeah, in that.
Bro, Naira told me that himself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I influenced him to be himself, not to be like me, just to be himself. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. In a scene that was like, I bust it open. People thought, is he like a joke? Is he a joke? Is he a comedian? People now compare me and say, fam, you're the original Michael Dapper. Because before the thing went screwed up, we all went to Lidl. You understand? And we all didn't know, like, were you a comedian, were you a joke? I was just being him a total opposites because I'm an artist. He's a comedian. Yeah. But people thought people thought I was Michael Dapper. Back then, like, oh, he's Africa. Oh, yeah, he's just doing like he's a Tolu don't jealous me. I mean, so I've definitely growing to understand that was my music ahead of its time. Yeah, like the only version of Lidl that's on Spotify, because the OG version is not on Spotify. Yeah, might put it on there. But the original, the only version that's on there is another OG version. It's actually the OG version, because the Lidl beat was Wiley's beat. Yeah. Skepta remixed it. Then man said, yeah, have that. They don't even have the parts for it no more. So that's still the flavor version, because that's on like one of the dopest grime beats ever, in my opinion. Boom. But then, because back then, I was always on ownership, so I thought, let me go and make my own version, keep the lyrics. It was never going to hit the same, because you've already delivered it on that one, but at least you have ownership. So what did I go to create? I went to create an Afro grime version, an Afro beat version. And that was your mindset,
even at 16, you wanted to be yourself?
At 16, bro. That was me at 16. I went to create Afro, and that's what's on Spotify now. You hear the influence of like that generation of Afro beats, the JJC, the early D'banj, you know, and all the other stuff that our parents used to play. Do you know what I mean? You would hear that. That was me like thinking, right, I'm gonna bring this and bring this in. So I've always had that vision.
Before that, who were you inspired by? Who inspired you and what you did? Like your kind of style, your sound?
My sound is a hard one, because I think I was always searching for my sound until I realized my sound is whatever the fuck I want it to be. Like, ultimately, whatever I decide I want my sound to be is my sound, which is whatever comes out of my throat. That what God gave me. That's my sound. Why am I looking for that? What's my sound? You're making noise, fam. You're making sound. That's your sound. You do it long enough, people will see the flavor of your sound. It's like, do you know what I mean? Or if you cook food long enough, people will understand, no, that's he's cooking, because there's something in it that you might not even know that you always do that distinguishes you and makes you unique. Whilst I was trying to find my sound, I don't know who influenced how I spit, but I know the artists that I used to like. So Solid Crew, Dizzy Rascal, Oxide Neutrino.
To the reload.
Hey, come on. Casualty, all them things there, yeah? Then obviously Wiley, the grime scene, like DWE, Kano, Fleur D. Then from my ends, Rebla.
Fleur D, really? That Mr.
Of course, Fleur D was character. Fleur D had a character.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. You remember it, man?
Like Street Fighter, like all those like animated way of like spitting. Because I used to take that on in my earlier years of like, you know, that kind of like, crack your skull, you know, there's like, you know what I mean? Whoop ass. So that was kind of, I guess, my UK influences. African influences, not so much. Fela came later on when I was in uni, more like 2008,
Any
2000.
Fela was not the older type Fela, anyone else?
My dad, I always heard Fela because my dad would be playing Fela. Fela knew my dad, and you know, like they'll chill in sometimes at the shrine in Nigeria, in Lagos. So I would hear Fela, I would hear Bob Marley growing up, but I never understood the music. It was only when my mind matured into it as a young man, maybe around 19, when I'm studying in the library, then I'll go and play some Fela. Then all the messages, I'll start learning about Nigeria's history, the political history, all these wonderful things that Fela has been able to put in his music, because he's someone who's gone and read loads of books and then found a way to make a song out of it. So if you're listening, you can catch something that's transcendent through time. You know, and that art of storytelling has really influenced me, because I'm a natural storyteller, even before I'm hearing films. You know what I mean? I tell stories. I listen to all my music, even the earliest back. I'm like, I really be telling them like a lot of stories. So just being able to listen and understand the way one is able to fuse musicality in with knowledge, spiritualism, being a dope performer, all in one. And it doesn't feel too heavy, feel too light. Perfect. Fela for me, like, represents that my Africa. Because a lot of people broke down. One day I went to Lidl as some socio-political something, which I didn't know at the time. But I say Fela is my
music's all pinnacle, isn't it? So it depends how
people's perspectives are different.
Yeah.
But for me, Fela was the pinnacle of like how to tell a story, be humorous, but still have that message underneath. Do you know what I mean?
And I didn't even know, like, you know, as a young kid, to you just sounds like fun, to you sounds like, you know, fun noise and whatever, but I didn't even know that kind of thinking and that kind of process, you know, goes into it. And that's the appreciation I think I have for music artists as well. Being able to create something that's standing the test of time. And I'm 28 now. Yeah, one day I went to Lidl, I heard that when I was like, what, 16? 15? And to even now, I still remember the words. Even, funny enough, I was on Instagram and I saw a video of someone actually done a parody of it.
Yeah.
I saw that as well. Yeah, you must have seen it. I think you might
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was a classic one, man. That one really brought me back to the first videos people put it up on YouTube for the video, which is like Slide. And I feel that guy captured, if I ever wanted to do a video now, I think it should look like something like that. Because Lidl, remember, I wrote that song purposely in a way as an artistic choice I know they speak English. Meanwhile, I did for sociology class, you know, but I'm saying I was really, really hungry. I went to shoplifting, day too. So, okay, what can you say? Because the government tried to know, because I had no money, just simple, just keep it simple. And it was difficult, but also very easy, because your mind is, you say like this, say that, but you know, simplicity.
That's it, simplicity. And you know what? I'll tell you what, a 5-year-old could easily understand your song. Like, so I get that. You know, kind of in business as well, right? One thing I always tell you, if you're going to pitch for money, if you're going to invest, always do it in a way in which a 4 or 5-year-old can understand what you're saying. If they can, then you're off to a good start. So, and I guess
that's how Steve Jobs modeled the iPhones and stuff, you know, to make sure I witnessed my 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 0-year-olds just go intuitively, you know what I mean? Oh, okay. Then they do that. Then they learn. Then they so it's, you know.
And even on the business side of things, well, being a young person, kind of explore business as well, and being able to monetize your content, being able to monetize your ability. How was that kind of experience, and what did you learn in terms of how to capitalize on a hot moment or capitalize on your talent?
The biggest lesson that I could share would be, as a generalization, would be one day I went to Lidl, which is arguably for me the biggest moment of my career. Is still a big moment when people think about it, whenever it comes up and someone else has reinvented it for the new age. And the biggest lesson I learned, because I had ample opportunity to maximize off that. If you want to talk about, you got a product and it's smoking, I've seen 2 examples, and I'll use Michael Dapper as the contemporary example, and myself as from Lidl as another example. Okay, so let's use Man's Not Hot and One Day I Went to Lidl. That's the comparison in their relative respective times. One Day I Went to Lidl popped and it's still continuing to pop for I don't know how long it's gonna happen. I got 13-year-olds who are younger than the song is older than them telling me, I remember that song back in the day. I'm like, fam, you were sucking mummy's breast when I was spitting bars, in the streets, But I love that because I'm still young, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, when that happened, I knew that as an artist, from 16 years old, this song was just humongous. And I had all these labels coming to check me out, wanted to sign me, even had, was even in talks with Disturbing London at the time when they were just at their infancy with Do Me, I want to Do Me for like manager or something like that. Yeah, because I was the kid that out of nowhere from Spitting in Woolwich, fam, do you know I was chilling with Rihanna when she was doing Umbrella, Ella, You
was with Rihanna?
Fam, I was doing Coachella, Ella,
What's Rihanna like? What's Rihanna like? She nice.
I mean, she dropped an album, Good Girl Gone Bad. I more or less met her between that Good Girl transition, Things could have went bad. She was all right, man. I was like, I was in uni, so I was checking her out like, oh, yeah, really, all right. Like, if you're in uni, there's other things, but still, you're really in it.
You must be at a young age like that, and then being able to chill out with Rihanna and just casually.
I was doing different stuff. Doing different stuff. Like I'm on tour buses. I'm on A-list stuff. I'm like Dizzy Rascal, who was the guard. Yeah, them times Air Force One times, like I Love You times. Dizzy Rascal smashing it. Air Force One. Dizzy was coming off stage and I'm stepping on stage. Do you know what that's happening? What's happening in my head? Who I used to watch every day before going to school, watching Channel U. I'm stepping Dizzy's or either way, I'm stepping off stage, he's stepping on stage. Same mic, same stage, same audience, cuzzy. Do I know? So when I'm coming back to the area, coming back to my neighborhood, coming back to the ends to do what I'm doing, my mind was just different. Like I'd been exposed. And that was the first. People were still trying to bust. Tiny was still trying to bust. It's like, how did you get that MIA link? Like, well, go on. Like, bring us in. Like that was the vibe. Do you know what I mean? So for me, back to choosing to capitalize or not, the Man's Not Hot Lidl, for me, I thought to myself, like, I'm not signing any labels. MIA wanted to sign me as well.
I'm not signing you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Turn down the contract, respectfully. I'm not signing.
But MIA,
because
why did you turn down a chance to sign with MIA?
Because it wasn't the best deal for me. Obviously, as a label owner right now, I understand the business angle. You see what I'm saying? I understand the hustle. It's not personal. But for me, it wasn't the best deal. Yeah, I could have renegotiated and but, I be Lagos boy. It's hard to catch a Lagos boy like that.
So I guess you share some light on that, like even though because again, if you had a chance at the time to sign for someone like MIA at the time who made some of the biggest songs, and has been on stage with Christina Aguilera and all that, you're thinking, oh, Lady Gaga, you're thinking, wow. So like, what is the kind of how were you able to kind of keep your coins and not want to sign for a label? So if you could share some light on how that kind of the label game works, how you make money off that.
My mindset always then was longevity. I always knew I'm in this for a long game. Now, to answer this question briefly, back then, to do the song that I did, which is Hustle, and I jumped on the official remix of Paper Planes, which is the Grammy, we were nominated for a Grammy for that album and for that work. I signed a buyout deal, right? So from the labels, Excel at the time, we got Richard Russell. So signed a buyout deal, which in sense, I explained it. Look, one's the long term, don't get much money, but you might see more long term. This one is the short term. You see this stack, and then that's it. Now, I knew God has blessed me with their tunes, yeah? So I just said, and I haven't got money at that time, 16, the way I'm thinking growing up, to go and hire a lawyer who's going to spend more money so I can really do it properly. Because I know that much, like, if I'm going to do it, then I need a lawyer or someone who has the know-how to negotiate. I'm never just accepting, bruv. I mean, Niger boy. I'm never just accepting the first week someone offers me. Say I did, please. For who? I should be accepting first offer. I'm 50, bruv. I'm 15 years old. I'm selling teachers' tracksuits. I'm sharp. Sharp. I'm not slow.
That hustler mentality that kind of
I've got a hustle mentality.
You know,
bruv, I know about 419. I know about fraud. Bruv. The first word I know is con. So I'm already thinking, let me track back for a second and think about what's happening. I didn't decide nothing. Whether it's out of fear or whatever, but I made the best choices because they were the worst deals.
Yeah.
Obviously, business is business. But think about it. You're this novelty kid that's just come out of nowhere. So I've been doing my music, but that's going to be the first time people have heard of me. Even now, people say, I haven't even heard. All I've heard is Little. Right? Come on, as any business, EMI, the day of businesses, they're trying to chop you. What I knew what they were going to do is rinse out that song, make it into a £1 fish, head, shoulders, knees and toes combination.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to force myself to try and produce an album, which it was only about 10 years later I gave the world the ABCD, my first debut album, which I didn't even, in my artistic mind, wasn't the album I wanted to give people. But I said, let me just drop this compilation of music. It happened to be long enough to be an LP. So, hey, it's my debut album by default. But ultimately, I knew like what I had to offer the world, how I want to come out is not then. Because the world is going to just remember me of this. And then it's like, I like the fact that many years on, there's not a video. I still have the option to officially release the song. Officially release the song commercially. Is what I'm saying. And even though, ironically, people do at least, not do only, but majority of people will still know that song above maybe even the name African Boy. My artist name African Boy that I've created, because some people still see it as that was some next African Boy until they realize it's all one thing. There is no other. But I prefer that rather than it being capitalized off when I wasn't at my most business savvy. I'm not against working with labels. I'm not against doing licensing. I'm not against doing business, period. I'm a businessman. I be Niger boy. But now it's about doing it correctly so that my kids can eat. Because so far, whilst I was making that song, people have had children and their children have listened to that song and now even say that song, and it's still carrying on in generations. You know,
something to say about consistency.
So back to Michael Dapper thing, so some consistency. So my choice was, I was like, on all levels, I was like, I'm waiting. On the level to push the video for Lidl, which would have cost me more money back then, to sign with the deals to labels so they could fund it, all of that. I kind of was like, nah. Now, in this age of 2020 now, I was able to bless to see what would have happened if you were at that age releasing that song now. I got to experience it with J Huss, but Michael Dapper more specifically with One Day I Went to Lidl and Man's Not Hot. Man's Not Hot come out, the thing with screw that, and all of a sudden it's pop all over the world. DJ Khaled, music video, advertising, everything right now is at amplified rate. You understand? And I had the same level of exposure in terms of going viral. I don't knew what viral was, but when you think about how that track was spreading, that was viral.
I definitely say it was a viral hit.
Even spoke about viral before it was a buzzword. Man was going viral, like viral. Do you know what I'm saying?
So would you say in a
to
way
the point
that
of the first memes were my videos. You know, the first style of memes that people do. If you go on One Day I Went to Lidl and see whatever video people have put up there, that's the style of memes that we do now. Stock footages from the internet to create a story, to create something funny. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was ahead of its time in the sense of how we now use technology and music and commerce and all of these things. But I've been able to see how like someone like Michael Dapper and Man's Not Hot and how the industry and everyone was like, but I know even maybe if I was releasing it now, I may have made a different choice or so on and so forth. If I had the right people around me to give me the foundation of ownership so that I could be able to actually like really benefit off it, you know, not just someone rinsing it out of business and they really going to benefit off it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm definitely blessed to be in my position. I'm blessed that people still listen to it and it's a moment and it brings people gratification. But I also look at the other side and think, but I know what would have happened if I would have released it. You know, if I look on the other side and think about what would have happened if I released it. Not now, but if it was then, but now, in terms of how technology and Facebook and Instagram, and I would have been touring, like selling out all the tours, and do you know what I mean? Because that's what happens now. If you have a song at that level of exposure, the industry's just built up. Like, I wouldn't need the labels. Like, I would just gather a team and just be touring. But I know more now.
Yeah.
More people.
And so even now, with all this success, with all kind of like, thank you for the deep, like the kind of deep context to that. So even with all of that now, do you still feel like, do you get annoyed and frustrated if you're not, I guess, put out there, right? Because you see on social media and these polls, and as a musician, I know obviously your social status stands for quite a bit. So when you're not seeing your names putting up there, like some of the legends, or or people are just not shouting out your name. I guess I know you personally. I know it doesn't bother you too much, but how significant would you say that is, getting that kind of recognition?
I'm an Aries, man. That shit bothers me sometimes.
You even went to the star sign, so I know that bothers me.
Real talk. But again, it always comes back to your why. You know what I mean? Always comes back to your why. And God gives me flowers, roses, marijuana, all types of flowers I receive. And even at my lowest times, when I think I'm going to just give it all up and go and do something else, like, this is getting stressful, like, I'm already getting older, like, what am I doing? You can have your doubts. The greatest champions have doubts.
Of course.
I'll just see someone on the street, and it will happen like this. Maybe I'm coming from teaching, I'm chilling, doing my thing. Tired, man. Just want to go home and forget about everything. One day I went to Lidl. I went to shop. Hey, yo, is that Africa? These times I got my hoodie on, trying to be low key. Someone's just had the most maddest experience because they just saw me at a bus stop. They're like, what? Fam, do you understand when you made that song? When I heard that song, what I was like, glad I've heard it. Oh, and that will just happen, just like that. And it happens consistently. Always at times when I'm maybe thinking, or I'm listening to those doubts too much. Consistently, someone out of the blue will just come and just give me flowers.
I love that.
Serious. Someone just come and give me flowers. Just like that. And it's always when I'm trying not to be noticed as well. When you are trying not to be noticed, God will notice you. I know there's a Bible quote like that, fam. When you're trying not to be noticed, God will notice you, fam. God will rise you up, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? God gave me just send people and they'll give me flowers. Just like, out of the blue, get a message. You're so inspirational to me. And then you remember that, right, I am the artist that I wanted to be. This is bigger than just like trying to secure this or trying to secure that. And then I redefine what my legacy is for myself. My legacy is the impact that I'll leave on people's hearts. That's what they'll remember, what you were about. Like Kobe Bryant passed, his daughter rest in power, and when you think of them now, the legacy that you think is not the money. I don't get nothing from him passing like that in terms of monetary value, but if I think of your name, then I think about, I remember what you were about, what was said that you were about, what you showed by your actions. Do you know what I mean? And that's the legacy. Like, when I met this person, like Kiniko, like, that's your legacy, as well as the works that you've done with your energy whilst you had it. So it is frustrating, but I've been in the game long enough to see even the people that may have been frustrated about their success now. I'm looking I don't never wish anyone no success, because now I've grown to understand all success also is kind of like my success, because everything is one, even though it's not necessarily my success. Not all success is necessarily for me in this being right here. You understand? Because that success can break you. You know what I mean? I've got loads of things going on in my life. So I just always try and appreciate the position I'm in, even though we're always trying to strive and be the best. That's the am all day. But yeah, man, like, mentally, it can be difficult, but I channel it into the music. If I've ever been jealous of an artist's success, which sounds, even saying that sounds so weird to me, because I'm just not that person. It just doesn't make sense. But if ever I was feeling any kind of like insecurity about my own success because of someone else's success, best believe that I made the hardest tracks. Best believe that metaphorically, I cut off everybody's head. Because me, I'm so even if no one heard it, the tracks are there. Like, you playing is like, ooh, I was going hard, because that's what I channel it back into. I'm a competitor like that. You know what I mean? So that would just drive me to prove that I am. I think I've even got a career just because I'm somewhere in me was trying to the world or be seen or be heard because of some past trauma and things like that. You understand? So, but now, man, the most important thing though, by realizing someone else's success or whatever, is still looking back at your own and realizing all that you have, how different and unique and why you built it. And then the other side to feeling doubtful is waking up and feeling so freaking happy that you are you. Like, the only way I can explain, the best way is that I could say as a joke is, you're so happy, you might as well just have a wank. Because it's like, I'm so happy that I am me. Like, African boy. Do you know how sick that is? In this time, my whole I'm me. Organically, authentically. No GMO.
Can I ask a question to that then? Can I ask a question to that? So even in, the power of authenticity, being yourself and, being authentic, then how important do you think it is to reinvent yourself? That's kind of one of the last questions I wanted to ask, like reinventing yourself. Because I remember we had a conversation earlier about you wanting to kind of strip it back a bit and going back to basics. So how important do you say, reinventing yourself is?
I think reinventing yourself is, for me, it's a way of life, innit? I feel like I renewed my mind and my spirit internally, and externally it shows in my vibe, in whatever else I touch and choose to do. So internally, I've been upgrade. I've matured as a man. I've been enlightened, new experiences. Through the metaphysical, spiritual, few just experiences rooted in this real world, and consciously, I find like the best reinvention I've ever done is just that internal one, of renewing my mind and getting to know myself. So it feels like a reinvention, but actually what it is a refinement. Because a reinvention for me would assume to somebody, or maybe to my mind, that you're talking of like a new thing that you haven't already got. Nah, a reinvention for me is tapping into another's aspect of yourself and magnifying it. Because you got all the source. Like in me is the same shit that's in Mars and all that shit. So you got all the source, all the ketchup, everything in you. So the reinvention is not something external coming out. It's a discovery. It's another self-discovery within yourself that you now bring out to, oh my God, I never knew that. But these times they don't know that you were always singing. Oh my God, I never knew that you can dress like that. But they don't know that you was always saving pictures and shopping and looking in the window. People don't know. But inside you, all these different energies are in you. So reinvention process is a rediscovery of yourself. Like, oh, this is another part of me that maybe I've focused on this part of me. So now I want to bring out this side of me again, and I want to wear this and make my hair like someone and feel this because this is how I'm feeling about life right now. And then life will change and you might feel differently about life, and then that reflects in your music. And then ultimately people say it was a reinvention just because you changed your hair color or, you whatever, your sound. It is a reinvention, but I see it as an evolution. A reinvention, yeah, man, because we're not static beings. Like a car, when it's manufactured, it is the car. But we're human. We grow. The car doesn't grow, fam. It just burns petrol. Yeah, like we grow organically, spiritually, everything. So it's not a reinvention. It's evolution or re-evolution, revolution, however you want to, say it. But that's how I see it. So for me, I've definitely gone through some revolutions.
It's a very metaphysical way in seeing things. Yeah, and it's good. It's just another way of experiencing it. Thank you for that. And I guess,
welcome,
one of the questions I wanted to know, the final one is really, as you know, it's Kindness Week in relation to mental health as well. And I guess your kind of thoughts on that. And I hope you're having a good week. And I know you're kind heart doing lots of good deeds as well. So in lieu of Kindness Week, so what any final words or things to anybody in regards to, I guess, mental health as well, and this week in particular?
I would just say, for anyone on my voice, just be kind to yourself, show yourself the most compassionate, unconditional love, because I truly believe
compassion starts with yourself.
Yeah, only when you've truly done that can you really fully embrace someone else's without holding judgment? And the most judgment I've ever held is onto myself, you know, and it can weigh you down. So don't let these thoughts weigh you down. Talk to people, you know, reach out to someone if you feel like you need to talk. It could be a random person, like just reach out to them. I've did some random phone calls when I've been in time of need, like shock the people on the other end. But hey, I needed someone to talk to. You were the closest person. I got to talk. You have time? You let it off, you know. And if it's not you, check in on people. You know, I've lost some friends in the past. Rest in peace, Nash. He passed 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago or more now. And you know, he took his own life, and that was difficult. Like you know, the way he did it
is the highest killer. It's the highest kill for men in the UK. Male suicide.
Right. You know, and I just always remember that it's just important just to check in on people, because you just don't know what people are going through. And I've been through my own things, and people could say I'm really strong, or there's certain things that I've been through. My close friends will let me know, you know, you're strong in the way you're dealing with it, because the same thing you're going through is why you might see some people homeless, or, you know, some people commit suicide and things like that. So, you know, just always, I think just, give thanks unto yourself. You know, if you want to give thanks unto God who creates yourself, do that. If you want to give thanks, but you can give thanks for something. Not have to be, give thanks for something. Do you know what I mean? Attribute that to whatever you want to attribute it to, because that's your divine will to be able to do what you want. But please, please, please treat yourself with some love, you know, and that's it.
I guess we got a question here, sorry, from Elliot Darimple. He said, what challenges are you dealing with currently? Not necessarily in relation to mental health, I guess it's just I'm thinking in terms of life. Mental health, kindness, everything. So what kind of challenges, are you dealing with?
Right now, my challenges are to do with. Oh man, it's a good question. Because they've shifted recently, I think, and they feel like good challenges. I think I've had to deal with, on a personal level, I've had to deal with a lot of challenges of protecting my energy and being able to observe a situation and do and make an act within a situation in a way that is actually best for me first before anybody else, because I always had a tendency in certain aspects of my life to make a decision that made me feel okay, but only because it made someone else feel okay. You understand? So that's been an interesting challenge. In terms of my business and career and things like that, I just think my challenges right now are to do with this new paradigm shift of you know, overcoming the fact that I can't do a live gig right now. You know, overcoming the fact that I'm a teacher also and schools are locked down. But I'm having a joyous time overcoming them. Like, you know, my only challenge right now is how to spend the money I got. That's not a bad challenge to have. I'm on the other side of the challenge. The other side is how to get the money. Now we got the bag, is all right. Now, how do you want to spend that bag in the most strategic way to be most beneficial? So you understand there's different challenges. They feel good to have, but they're still equally challenges. So that's it really, you know. I mean, everything else, I'm just like, getting everything that I want to get out, you know, and using the people around me to build a good team. But that's it. We have to have challenges anyway, so we can grow and learn and, you know, have that edge.
Keep elevating and keep grinding. You know,
any other questions?
I guess thank you for that piece on that. For me personally, thank you for that piece that you kind of just shared now on, you know, the empowering importance of, you know, it's okay to feel low, it's okay to feel down, but you know, we keep moving. Do you know what I mean? We keep trying to be better, and that's what you can do at the end of the day. I guess we got one more question for you, and it's what would you be doing if it wasn't music, if it wasn't this? What do you think you'd be doing?
If it wasn't music, wasn't this?
I know it's not a Yahoo boy. I know it's not a Yahoo boy. So what would you be doing?
No, if I wasn't doing music, well, I just don't do music, so it's a difficult question because I do many other things too. Like I teach, you know, in schools, in youth programs. I deliver different programs in terms of like upskilling yourself in film production. So I may probably be doing that, but because yeah, there's a side of me that likes to give. There's a side of me that's able to communicate with people to get the best out of them for themselves. Possibly, but I don't know because that doesn't totally fill the void of getting to travel. So I definitely probably will want to do something that involves travel. It's just music's the best one.
Yeah, I remember talking to you when you was in Indonesia. I remember videos in Indonesia randomly just talking about making music. I was like, all right. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I think it was sometime last year I was talking to you. You was there for a minute in Indonesia. It's interesting.
Yeah, man. Indonesia. Yeah. So you get to travel, and I really love traveling. I've found out that's definitely something that helps with my mental health. So, but it's difficult to say at this point. But I think it lies within what I do outside of music, which relates to just connecting with people, being an educator, and nurturing people's talents, I guess.
Yeah, nice wicked.
Or chef. Could have been a bad boy chef. Or actor. I could have did acting actually. I would have probably tried finesse acting because there's a bag in acting, and I was bad in drama school at best. No cap.
I mean, still time for acting. There's still time for that.
Fact. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to because it's more than just the music.
Yeah. No, that's wicked.
Good question though.
And with that, I'd like to thank you very much, my friend, African boy, for joining the panel. You know, this is what we're about. UK, you know, we wanted to kind of push community leaders, heroes, and people that do a lot, and they're more than just kind of what society's told them. And, you know, here is influence and here is success in the form of African boy. And I think you shared a lot of really powerful points here and things that we can take away and, you know, improve upon and be better people. And we can only thank you again. And if you have any final words, I guess, anything you want to drop out or anything you want to share right now.
Yeah, I just want to tell people that so we just launched the e-mentoring, Young, Ambitious and Motivated e-mentoring program, which is basically a one-to-one service that allows whether you're a young musician or you're in the game but you want to find a way to accelerate yourself, you're going to be able to have a one-to-one e-mentoring session with myself and also other reputable artists. And that's basically going to be able to help you to have a professional ear to bounce questions off, you know, and that person also has a wide network of people that can benefit what you're doing. You're going to be able to say, yo, I've just written the song. What do you think? Any tips? Just what's publishing? What's this? What's that? So we just launched that service. It's on all my pages right now. You're going to be able to find it. You can go to africanboy.com, click on the Yam store. Or go to my Instagram page, African Boy, spell it with a K. And yeah, I'm really excited to launch this service because it's one of the ways that I was concerned, like, how can I continue to reach out to my community? One of my things is, if I had me chilling with me at 16 years old, it would have been crazy. I would have signed that long-term contract. I would have did this. I would have did that. I would have patterned up because I have someone that knows, that's helping me. You know, so my thing has always been to also give back. Like, I'm a legend, fact. So give back, because there's bare other legends, like, you know, that you're giving back to. So I'm really excited for that service. It's not age restricted. But yeah, if you definitely know anybody that would benefit from that service, then yeah, man. Absolutely, spread it around. We're going to be doing some collaborations with other organizations also. So if you know any other youth organizations that have potential to be able to reach an audience, man, because it's just all about giving our creatives the access to be able to continue to still be creative. You know, music saves people from going to sell drugs. Music saves people from, you know what I mean, depression. Music saves people from, like, you know, self-esteem issues. Music can really do a lot. So we want to definitely keep that vice for people to go, because business is still happening. Whether you're in your house or not, like, we still making money. Like, do you know what I mean? We still progressing our art. So yeah, if you want someone to tap into, someone to have that unlimited access to, get in touch. It's young, ambitious, and motivated mentoring. Pepe.
Cool. I'm pretty sure there's one or two people I'm going to share this with anyway. I think they will definitely want to be in touch with you anyway. So,
yes, sir. Yeah, man.
My friend who's written this message as well, I think he'll probably want to be in touch soon. So, yeah, no worries. Thank you very much, my brother. I hope you safe quarantine. My blessings to the family. And thank you so much for the panel. And we'll probably be in touch soon. And good night, everybody. And thank you again. Check out Speedo.co.uk and check out Young Gifted. What is it again? Young Gifted. Young ambitious.
Young ambitious, motivated. Yam mentoring. Yam baby.
Mentoring. Just check out Yam mentoring. Thank you very much, brother. You have a good